So. It is basketball time. I've been waiting for this. Preseason started earlier on in the week, and I wasn't able to watch that many games. There was the 76ers, there was the Knicks playing. Didn't watch any of the full games, but I did manage to check out some of the clips, and they did look pretty good. But I thought before I even put out a YouTube short of anything, let me actually go and try to watch games. Let me actually try to watch the games. And that's why I had to watch this one here. Orlando Magic, Miami Heat. Now you might be thinking, is there a reason for these two teams? Not specifically. Like I really would have loved if it was the Utah Jazz played, so I could break down everything being a Utah Jazz fan and start thinking, yeah, this is how it's going to be. But nevertheless, that is not the case. But I thought the Orlando Magic and the Miami Heat are two teams that I think have a lot of potential. The Orlando Magic are one where I definitely think that they're going to make it to the playoffs. How far they get, probably not, but there's still an opportunity there. The Miami Heat, definitely a team in transition, still trying to refine their identity post Jimmy Butler, managing to get Norman Powell uh, over the trade, or at least last summer. And I thought that these are two teams that just have lots of potential. And I think that's what we saw here in the game. So, welcome to episode 6 of Hoops Lytics. I want to thank everybody again for checking out some of my content. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate the comments recently. Thank you very much for the feedback. It's definitely much appreciated. I'm going to continue driving with this, continue going forward, giving my thoughts and views on basketball, trying to see who's the next breakout star using my Power BI dashboard and giving you real insights based on my analytic skills on what that might be. But also at the same time, still just going out here having lots of fun with it as well. Now, in this game, I was pretty impressed. Now, it definitely was a game of two halves. So, in the first half of the game, the Heat were dominant. I mean, dominant out the game. I thought the Heat were going to run away with this. And if you haven't looked at the box score yet, or at least look at the score yet, I'm going to give it away. Sorry. But the Heat lost. And that really came because of the second half of the game. But I got to say, I was super impressed by the Miami Heat in the first half of the game. And I wrote down quite a lot of notes here for this game because it was my first preseason game where I get to sit down, relax, enjoy the game, go through a little of the numbers, read through everything, write down some notes. And that's kind of what I got from the game. You had a game whereby the Miami Heat and the Orlando Magic kind of redefining themselves. And I think that the Heat were able to get off at a good start because the Heat played a lot of their experienced guys at first. When you start looking at the amount of minutes that it's been playing, teams are treating this as preseason, which, to be honest, for the most part, that they should, at least for the next couple of weeks. And then once we start getting into the third week, which leads into the NBA season, that's when we'll start to see real NBA minutes being played by a lot of these guys here. But I was pretty impressed by the way how the Miami Heat play. I love the way how they move the ball up and down the court. Uh, the breakaways on the transition was nice. Like the fact that they were defensively solid as well, which I was pretty impressed by. Still got to work on the offensive part. Again, they're working on things, but there were players there that I really wanted to watch in this game. Even though I do like Norman Powell, but I know what Norman Powell could do. And that's what we saw here from the minutes. So let me go through some of the minutes there. Let's go through the Heat first of all. You had most of the guys who were experienced vets only really played about 12 to 15 minutes of the game. Precious Achua played 11 minutes. Andrew Wiggins played 12 minutes. Nikola Jovic, who I think is going into his third or fourth year, played 12 minutes. Bam Adebayo played 13 minutes. Jaime Jaquez played 20 minutes, but he deserved it, and he deserved to play 20 minutes, mainly because of, I'll get into that in a second. Norman Powell played 14 minutes. Simone Fontecchio, he's the only real experienced vet that played a lot of minutes. But again, he's just come through from a trade. So that's probably another reason why he played a lot of minutes when he played 21 minutes. Precious Achua there I talked about. Who would the other? Keshad Johnson there I thought was pretty good. I actually don't know who that is. No, I think he might just be a young guy. And then that was kind of it. Everybody else were either from their G League team or guys that they kind of just picked up on two-way contracts. Some interesting names there, like Vladislav Golden, a guy who I considered the Utah Jazz to pick up as a late second round pick in this past NBA draft, but they didn't. But nevertheless, let's talk about the players that I had on my hit list to watch. So, first on my hit list was Jaime Jaquez. Now, we all know Jaime Jaquez. We know Jaime Jaquez. Jaime Jaquez was at his second season, which wasn't that great in comparison to his first season. But now going into his third season, everybody is expecting a third year bounce to where Jaime went from here to now here. That is kind of what everybody's expecting from Jaime Jaquez. I thought in his first season he was really good, showed that his experience coming out of college, those extra years, really, really benefited him in his start of his NBA career. But gotta say, I did expect more from Jaime Jaquez. 20 minutes, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 6 points. I I'm not gonna lie to you, I did. I would have expected closer to about 12 points from this game in the 20 minutes with the 4 rebounds and the 3 assists. When you do look at the amount of assists that he had, he is level on assists with Keshad Johnson and Ethan Thompson, who are two young guys there and just one ahead of some of the other vets. But I do expect to see, or I did expect to see Jaime Jaquez just be a lot more better, especially when you look at the amount of minutes that he played. But nevertheless, it is just first game of preseason, and I have no problem with that. But just to get a first glance at Jaime Jaquez, I do want to see more, but I'll be rooting for the guy. I definitely think that there's a lot of potential there. From the game there, I didn't really have anything in particular to talk about Jaime Jaquez. For me, I expected a lot more. Then you had one of the other young players there that I have to say I was pretty impressed by, and I really loved what he was doing for Serbia at Eurobasket, coming up off the bench, hitting those spot up threes where need be, playing some defense. Being another offensive threat for Serbia at Eurobasket this summer. Now coming into this game with the Miami Heat, I thought he's had a really good game, and for me, I got a ton of notes on him. Passing in this game, very good. He was one of the best passers in the first half. And especially, this is something that the Heat are going to need when you got likes of Tyler Hero out for such a long period of time. And I do wish the guy the very best. They're going to need guys like Nikola Jovic. And from what my understanding is from the commentary that was being aired, is that Jovic has just signed a new deal, which is good motivator for him. I know he's going to get minutes this season. They are definitely going to need him. And now with Jimmy Butler going, they're going to need him to really step up on the plate. And especially when you have the likes of Jaime Jaquez there, where you're just not sure on how his development is going to be, what his future is with the Miami Heat, especially if his performance continues down this downward trajectory. What does that look like? I also had the fact that offensively, when it comes to his scoring, he was pretty consistent throughout the game. His helping in transition, not just offensively, but defensively as well, was really good to see in the game. Putting in the effort, really closing down a lot of the Magic uh, offensive players. Thought he did a great job at that earlier on in the game. But again, a good 12 minutes that he had in the game, Nikola Jovic. Then we got to talk about Kel'el Ware, the guy on the thumbnail. Kel'el Ware is probably one of my favorite young centers from the last year's draft. I just put up a YouTube short literally about an hour ago talking about Kel'el Ware coming out of that third quarter. Kel'el Ware, in his first 7 minutes of the game, had 7 rebounds. And I think at the time only had about 2 points, but 7 rebounds. He was crashing the boards. You got a guy like Kel'el Ware rebounding as efficiently as he was. You are going to expect and going to get another level of offense, another level of defense that you might not have expected. Now, we know Kel'el Ware's skills. We know he's got a back. Offensively, he's nice, can give you a fadeaway, layup, dunk, shoot the three. He really has it all. It really does. Like I did a video a couple days ago talking about Evan Mobley. Kel'el Ware could be that type of guy over the next 5 years. I truly do believe that. He's got all the skills to be able to do so. And with an organization like the Miami Heat, Heat culture, and Pat Riley leading the show, I damn sure know that he can do it. And then Kel'el Ware ended the game. Let me pull up these stats. And I don't have preseason stats in my dashboard. Now, we will look at those specific. We're going to look at Kel'el Ware last season and how he did in detail. We're going to look at Jaime Jaquez. But before we get to that, we got to deal with the preseason game. Right? We got to deal with this. So, Kel'el Ware, throughout this game, he played 17 minutes, 9 rebounds, 10 points. No assist, though, unfortunately. But that's what you want to see. Crashing the boards. Like, those are numbers that I like. What did you do with on your time on the court? I always talk about efficiency. I got a visual on my Power BI dashboard talking about player efficiency. And part of the being efficient is what are you doing on the court for the amount of time that you're on there? And in his 17 minutes, at least for every minute he was doing something, whether it was a rebound or a point. 10 points, 9 rebounds. Almost gets you a double double. You gotta love that. Gotta love that at all. Then we gotta talk about and Andrew Wiggins. I thought he did pretty well. Started out the game really, really well. I gotta say that Andrew Wiggins really impressed me, and I'd have loved to see more from him. But like I said at the beginning of the video, Andrew Wiggins, experienced guy, he really is just looking to stretch his legs, flex his muscle. That's what we saw from this game from Andrew Wiggins. And you could tell from his preseason numbers, Andrew Wiggins gave you 11 points, 2 assists, 12 minutes. That's what I want for my rotation players. So Miami Heat fans, you should be happy about that. Really impressed with Andrew Wiggins, like what he can give. And I hope that he manages to stay a long while for the Miami Heat. Then I got to talk about former Jazz man from my Utah Jazz, Simone Fontecchio. Plays now for the Miami Heat, came through with the trade. Thought he was really good again at Eurobasket. Gave you offense and defense. Now, obviously, his role for Italy is a lot bigger than what he would generally get for the Miami Heat. But he's still a guy that in this game, at least by the third quarter that I have, gave you 9 points off the Heat bench. Perfect type of role player, I see. And he's a seasoned vet. That's what you want. And in this game, he was solid defensively. And I know Simone Fontecchio, sometimes people could question like his defense, but this game, he was solid defense. His defensive work was nice. Gave it 21 minutes, and I figure because of he's a recent acquisition, they gave him a little bit more minutes. And especially since he was playing in Eurobasket, probably didn't have a lot of time to acclimatize to the Heat culture. Gave you 9 points, 2 assists, 3 rebounds. Again, great numbers. Really good numbers for what he was able to produce. Now let's talk about the Orlando Magic. Now, the Orlando Magic have Paolo Banchero. He's a franchise player. I thought I would have seen more, but again, I understood why. Again, it's one of them where you experienced guys, and even though he's young, they know he's the one. So he wasn't getting a lot of minutes in this game. But I think Paolo gave us 13 minutes. And in 13 minutes, Paolo gave you 7 points, 3 rebounds. Pretty decent overall. I gotta say that. And the one thing I did like about Paolo's game was most of those minutes, at least from what I saw, was most likely played in the first quarter of the game. And Paolo defensively was good. Paolo was out there getting block shots. Like there was a drive from where did I put it? There was a drive from Jaime Jaquez Jr. going to the basket, coming down on Jaime's left. Paolo Banchero's boxing out, meets Jaime, boom, get that ball out of here, son. Really good box. He had a couple of blocks in this game. Like good defensive performance from Paolo. Rebounded, wasn't too flashy, wasn't trying to do a lot. Again, first preseason game, but I'm just itching for more. I want more. But I liked Paolo in this game, and if you've been watching some of the content that I've been putting out over the past few days or last couple of weeks, I'm ready for the season. Guys like Paolo, they are ready. Guys like Paolo are going to take it to the next stage. So I know this is we're just easing up in there. Then we got to talk about Jase Richardson. So, Jase Richardson is one of the newly drafted guys for the Orlando Magic. He's definitely a player that they wanted and they probably needed because Magic need offense. I think Jase Richardson was probably one of the best offensive point guards coming out of the draft, next to Walter Clayton Jr., in my opinion, and the kid that went to San Antonio. But Jase Richardson, even though he's more on the diminutive side, and I know what am I talking about diminutive? Because me and Jase Richardson are the same height, 6 foot, baby. Jase Richardson out here telling people our 6 foot guys can produce. We can provide value to a team. It doesn't matter about height. Stop being a heightist. That's what we saw from this game. And I really like what Jase Richardson was given. Because Jase Richardson in this game, let me find it. Jase. I am so blind. Where's Jase? That's it. He's near the bottom. Jase Richardson in this game played 24 minutes. And you know what Jase Richardson did in 24 minutes? He gave you 13 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists. Jace Richardson, and Jace Richardson wasn't even that flashy. If you wasn't trying to watch for Jace Richardson, you wouldn't even have noticed that much about what he was doing. But he had very good ball vision, understood the way how to play, really flowed so well into the offense. No matter what his size is, he's like a little pit bull. He's just like he's there trying to get rebounds. He's not staying out. He's going to the paint. He really understands the game, and it's why should we be surprised? The son of a former NBA player. This is what I like about kids that are from where they have parents that are NBA players or WNBA players. They know how to play. They understand the game. And playing in that point guard position, which is one of the most difficult positions, Jace understands that very well. I thought he could have done a little bit better on the shooting side. There were moments where I was like, ugh, it wasn't there. Well, I think he didn't do that well scoring wise in the first half, but in the second half, really turned it up. But Jace's vision, his passing was sublime. Really like what Jase Richardson gives. He's going to continue to get minutes. What else have I got about Jase Richardson? Yeah, he's just scoreless in the first half. That's the only criticism that I have. But when you look at the overall box score numbers, 13 points in 24 minutes is pretty good. When you think the fact that he put in a couple of assists in there and some rebounds, what more could you ask for? Then you had Noah Pendo out of this game. I gotta say, I was watching the game and I know they brought him up, but I didn't really notice him that much. But he did play 15 minutes out of the game, gave you 6 points and 2 rebounds. Overall, a pretty decent performance. Still early days in preseason, but we just got to see what he can be able to do going forward. Uh, I know he's going to get time. You'll probably get some time, mostly in the G League, but we just kind of have to see how how his progression really goes. Definitely see how his progression goes over preseason. But I really like Noah Pender. And then a player here who I didn't see, someone that I quite talked about quite a lot. Well, you know what? Before I even get into them, Jet Howard played. I thought he had a pretty good game. I noticed him quite a lot offensively and on the defensive side. I thought he was pretty decent as well. Jet Howard's how many minutes Jet Howard played? Jet Howard played 18 minutes, 10 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. I thought he did pretty well. Uh, Play that I did think that didn't do that well, which I think is pretty concerning about him, is Anthony Black. I've always been a fan of his because when him and Grady Dick stand together, we get the infamous BD combo. And who doesn't love a BD combo? That's what all the ladies want. But Mr. Black in this game played 21 minutes, 5 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists. Me personally, not good enough. Now he's going into his third season in the NBA, and this is probably going to be a decision year for Anthony Black. I do have to say he's got to get way better at shooting the three ball. I think he's naturally. I don't think he's an offensive player. I think his size and his length, a lot of teams look at and they try to mold him into the way how they want. Maybe this just isn't the right system for him. Maybe the Utah Jazz are the right position for him. I don't know. I don't know. But we'll have to see how things go. But I thought Anthony Black was pretty tame in this game. Didn't really catch my eye as of much, Anthony Black. And then who else have we got from the Orlando Magic? No one else from the Orlando Magic. But there was one guy there that I was surprised not to see. And I have no idea why he isn't in like here. I don't know if he's injured or something like that. But that was Kasparas Yakachonis. So Kasparas Yakachonis wasn't he wasn't even here. Like, did I miss something? Kasparas Yakachonis didn't even play in this game, and he was one of the ones that I was looking forward to. I feel slightly cheated. This is my only disappointment out of the game. Kasparas Yakachonis is a big guard that creates and shoots. Now I know he has received, or at least from what I'm seeing online, that everybody's talking about him and giving him praise. Eric Spoelstra there, but talking about his competitiveness. But you gave him all these compliments, but you don't play him. Like, is he injured? Like, I don't understand. I don't understand. I probably got to go look at X about this. Maybe I should have gone and researched this before I decide to jump on a live stream. But hey, nevertheless, I would have loved to see Kasparas Yakachonis in this game. I thought just him going up against Anthony Black, like, let's see how that can do. That would have been a pretty interesting dynamic. I'd figure that both of them are probably in and around on at the same level. That would probably be my guess. I think Yakachonis is going to give you a handful of points. He's probably only going to play, let's say, about 20 minutes. I expect him to get tons of assists. So 5 points, 5 assists, 2, 3 rebounds. I expect that. That's what I would have expected. But maybe next time I will be keeping an eye on what that would be. But yeah. But there is something that I have to look at. From this game, we saw Jaime Jaquez, and I'm going back to Jaime Jaquez. And the reason why I'm going back to Jaime Jaquez is because Jaime Jaquez is going into third season, but I'm not sure whether, like, what Jaime future holds. What is the trend saying about Jaime? Do we all think Jaime Jaquez could take it to the next level? Can he be a consistent starter, or is his ceiling already hit and it's just, mate, you're a rotation player? This is what I want to find out. So I got the Power BI dashboard ready to go. If you give me 1 sec, I'll go share my screen and then we will take it from there. So, Jaime Jaquez. Now, again, Miami Heat fans, please do not get at me. Like, I'm not blowing this all out of proportion. I just feel that I'm a fan of Jaime, and I just want to know a little bit more about him. I like, what does the future hold? Like, I know you can't see into the future, but like, my data goggles are just invisibly on, and I feel like I can use my powers of data to be able to predict where Jaime is gonna go, and I'm rooting the guy on because I really do think I think he could perform something similar to what he did in his first season. So this is what I'm gonna do. I got some new visuals. Please load. There we go. These are what I call my key insights now. This is gonna allow me to focus on the most important things about these players. Now, the player efficiency is part of this, but this kind of takes it up looking for player efficiency. We're going to look at assist to turnover ratio. We're going to look at offensive rating. We're going to look at defensive rating. And then we're going to look at change over time on how these players have performed. So, Jaime Jaquez, obviously, he's only played a couple of seasons. So, there isn't much. I would have loved to have done this maybe in his fourth year. Then we would have got an idea. But this, we can make a prediction. So let's look at Jaime. Or if you are uncultured, Jamie. So see, This is the issue with Jaime Jaquez, right? This is the issue right here. Jaime Jaquez. Hold on. Let me do that again. Jaime Jaquez is this. This does not lie. These are the concerns why I have with Jaime Jaquez. You don't have to be a genius to look at these charts to see where things are going for Jaime Jaquez. Now, this combines his year one and year two. So maybe it's slightly off. So, you know what? Let's see how it is. Rookie season. Rookie season. Okay. Rookie season, assist to turnovers, pretty low. Doesn't hit the average. Room for improvement. Offensively, he's solid. He was solid offensively. I'd say that. Defensively, monster. Monster year for Jaime Jaquez. Put him down as an elite defender. Last year, below average offensively. Still a good defender. Slightly gone down, but still a good defender. Definitely room for improvement. If I had to say, just based off of this, what is the issue with Jaime Jaquez? It could be a handling issue. His ability, his court vision, his efficiency. These are the things that probably Jaime Jaquez would need to look over. He clearly is a very good defender, but looking at everything across his first season to second, points, assists, block, like everything is down. Why is this? Let's check it out. Let's check out why Jaime Jaquez is down. So we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it like this. We're gonna look at Jaime. So again, Jaime Jaquez, solid start. Player efficiency, that's where he sits. 20 minutes a game on average, 8 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. His fouls are down, fouls per game, 1.2, 1.5 turnovers per game. Like this tells me a lot. So if you're watching this is telling you that yes, he put his fouls are low, turnovers are low. But from what I see, looking at how many minutes that he plays, especially on the offensive side, like the rebounds are good. The assists should probably be a lot more for what you're thinking the amount of minutes that he plays. That should be maybe closer to like 3.5. But the points, that should be at least 10. Probably closer to 12 or more. And that's why I feel Jaime Jaquez is put into the solid starter. He's a good player. Don't get me wrong. Good player. But that is why Jaime Jaquez is in the solid starter ranking. That is why his numbers look like this. Where did he stack up with against other guys from his draft? Let me turn this off. Why do I have that? He was the 2023 draft. He's pretty good in his rookie year, as we all know. 889 points. Jaime, 11 points per game. 2.5 assists, a little over that, 3.8 rebounds. Good player. And was top in pretty all of them. But it's really that second season. That's the problem. Where was Jaime? I am so curious about this. Because I am a fan. Played less games than he did play in his first year, 66 games. But points his way down. 570? That does not look good. Yeah, that's why. So in his first season, he was basically like top 5 in points. He was like top 5 in everything. And let's see, steals, which is part of defense. Like he's around for steals. He's around for rebounds. He's around on assists. But it's the scoring part that he's got to work on. And that probably is his weakness. That's going to be his weakness. But I think he could improve for sure. Another player who I really like, really, really like. I talked about Kel'el Ware. Let's look at Kel'el Ware key insights from last season. Now, obviously, it's not going to show a trend from year 1 to year 2 because now he's only going into year 2 before someone says anything. Elite defender, solid offensively, assist to turnover rate is pretty low. Not surprised. Not surprised there. Rookie season, how did Kel'el Ware do? And I know I've talked about this before, but not great. Not great. Where's Kel'el Ware? Kel'el Ware couldn't be that low, could he? Or am I just blind? 595 scored. That's actually not bad. Maybe it is. 595. Yeah, it's pretty low. Kel'el Ware. He's got some improvement to do, but I think there's lots of potential. This could be the year. That 9 points, in my opinion, is going up to at least 13. That's going to turn into a healthy 1.2, 1.3. Those rebounds are going to go up. It's going to be good, in my opinion. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Let's see what the player efficiency rating looks like. $19.4. Yeah. This is it. This is gonna be it. This is Kel'el Ware's year. That's what we're gonna get. I've talked about Paolo. I really wish I had Jase Richardson because I do think that there's something there. But I thought it was a good, solid game between the Miami Heat and the Orlando Magic. Super impressive game. Obviously, it's preseason, so there definitely just wasn't a lot of minutes that I would have liked to see from some of the better players. But the few bright shining spots out of the game was Kel'el Ware with his 9 rebounds and 10 points in 20 minutes. It was Jase Richardson and his 24 minutes played with 10 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists. Those are the big highlights of the game. Oh, and Nikola Jovic. Like, really, I thought he was impressive as well. Would have liked him to play more, but just doesn't happen. But I will take that. But thank you guys for watching this live here. Again, this is kind of a shorter one, about what, 40 minutes. So not bad, but I think we've had a lot of fun with it. So I will do this. This is going to be the end, but I will do another live tomorrow. As you all know, preseason is here, and tomorrow's game is the US's favorite team. It's the NBA's favorite team. It's the Lake Show, the Lakers versus the Golden State Warriors. So I will be watching that game, and I will do a live to talk about that game because I know we're going to see the GOAT. We're going to see the baby GOAT. Or hopefully we see the baby GOAT. We should see like some of the guys from the Warriors. I'm curious to see what they're doing as well. So it'll be good to see them. But I'll also, after this, I will go and watch the I think it's the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think it's the Denver Nuggets, if I'm not mistaken, that are currently playing. Yes, it is them. I'm gonna go and watch that game from the beginning. I'm trying not to look at the score lines as I generally do just want to watch the game and then give my feedback. I'll be putting out some YouTube shorts. I want to see who impresses me just to kind of get the ball rolling. But basketball's here, people. Let's get excited. It is going to be another exciting year, a new set of players, a new crop of players for us to keep an eye on, to get excited on, and another year of progression for a lot of these guys. So let's get excited. Let's continue to watch. Let's talk about some analytics. And let's see who's going to be the next star. So thank you once again for watching the video. Please do comment, like, and subscribe. Do give your feedback. Your feedback is much appreciated. This helps me to streamline the channel, be able to make a few modifications. As you see, I keep adding modifications to the Power BI dashboard, tweaking little things here and there as I see fit, as you guys see fit. Or if there's things that you would like to see, do let me know and leave a comment down. And if that is it, I will see you all next time.